this very special night to show our support to Chesed 24/7, a very unique organization that really, very rarely do you see an organization that their full description is in the title. I wasn't really planning to speak tonight, but if I was to describe Chesed 24/7, it pretty much says it all in that title. It's an organization that caters to families in a hospital. Again, not the family, although they do work with the patients as well, they work very close with the families that have loved ones going through different challenges and different treatments. They have what they call Chesed rooms in, I think, 30 hospitals throughout New York City. They do a tremendous, tremendous work. Unfortunately, you have to really experience a full hospital situation to really understand the full scope of what they do. But they really are an organization that is open to all in the most pure chesed way, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, including the holidays, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and so forth. Of course, I'd like, before we do anything, I have to thank our host and hostess, the Ayal family, Vicky and Sammy Ayal, for opening up their home. A special thank you to them. You know, when Sammy was asked to host this event, he didn't even think twice. And of course, he spoke with his children, all of them very special and unique. As we see, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, but all of them, all the boys, got involved, ready to go and ready to really help this very, very special cause. A very special thank you to all of them, to Albert, to Sal, to Jacob, to Richie, to Isaac. Did I leave anyone out? To the sisters, to everybody. The son-in-laws. Hashem should bless all of you for the chesed that you're doing tonight and for the organization that we're raising money for. Bezrat Hashem, this home should always be a source of beracha for many, many years to come. Sam, you should have many more grandchildren, great grandchildren for many years to come. Amen. I'd like to call up first Jacob Ayal, who's going to speak on behalf of the family and say a few words. Jacob, kavod, where are you?
I'm going to keep this very short because I only got like a 30-second notice. So just want to welcome and thank everyone for coming. Of course, for coming together for Chesed 24/7. Thank you to Mom and Dad and the Ayal family for opening your home to host such a beautiful, magnificent event. And thank you for everyone who helped make this happen, from something as small as the invitation and everything, getting things done. I just met Rabbi Sanders, I would say like a few weeks ago. And I didn't know much about Chesed 24/7. This was all new to me. And within one night of sitting with the rabbi, I learned so much that it just inspired me to want to just do more and, of course, help with this and make it happen. And just watching the rabbi and seeing how calm and easy everything was to just, this is not something like this could take a few months to do. This was all within like a few weeks, and it was so calm and easy, and the rabbi with such a smile, he just does it all with such simcha, and really that was really the main key of making this happen, doing it nice, calm, and easy. And of course, for the rabbi and all the work he puts into Chesed 24/7, without asking, he just wants to help, he just wants to do. And with us, hopefully, he should keep continuing to do the chesed that he does with full open arms. The name Chesed 24/7 really says it all. We're talking about an organization that 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, is just helping people, whether for good or for bad or for anything. The Chesed, the organization, is always there. You can see on the cards, if you just take a little glance, or if you saw the video, we're talking about 30 hospital rooms, from serving in here in NYU to all the way in Israel. So that's just amazing how we're able to see how they're able to spread in so many other places. And a lot of people who said, oh, you're doing something for Chesed 24/7? Oh, they helped me with their baby. Oh, they helped me with one of my grandparents. And everyone has such a good story and so many good things to say about Chesed 24/7. Olam Chesed Yebaneh. I'm not going to touch so much on this, but Olam Chesed Yibaneh, the world was built on Chesed. So with your support, Chesed 24/7 could keep continuing to do what they do to make powerful impacts in people's lives. So enjoy the delicious food and drinks and get ready to hear more about what Chesed 24/7 does, not just for this community, but for many, many more around the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacob, for those very warm words. You mentioned Rabbi Sanders. You know him a few weeks. I know him a couple of years now. To know him is really to love him. No, I mean it. If they have to put one person to really be behind this organization, it would be Rabbi Sanders. He does everything with warmth, with a smile, with real care. He really helps. If you had to put a face with the name, he is the perfect person. I'd like to call up the rabbi just to say a few words. Thank you. Kavod, Rabbi.
I'm very grateful for all the nice things that people just said. None of them are true. Not a word. Not one word. Baruch Hashem, I'm just a front man. Shortly, Rabbi and Mrs. Greenberg was the founder of this organization together with her friends. And she was the one who first went. The first big hospital that caved in and let us have a room was Columbia, and then from there down to Cornell. And she's coming in. Sima Bakrak, who many of you know from Mount Sinai, who's worked with so many families, she's coming. And there's Anochi Afar Ve'efer. I want to ask Kavodo Rabbi Haber to come up, because my job today is to give. We're going to give every time we meet at these things, we try to do something of meaning. And when I'm talking about meaning, I'm talking about, I have here something that the Ayal family, you just heard Jacob speak. Sammy's idea was that Jacob should speak and that the kids should be involved. And it's so beautiful to see. And we try very hard when we thank people to give something, not a plaque, but to give something that will be L'netzach nitzachim la'ol meyat till Mashiach is coming. This is a letter from Morenu, Rabbi, what should I say? The Chacham Maran Ovadia Yosef, the Rishon LeZion, to Rabbi Baruch Ben Chaim, his best friend, who they were friends from when they were in yeshiva till they lived together their whole lives. And this is a special letter that he wrote himself. It's signed by him in his own holy handwriting. I'm even scared to touch it. I'm honestly scared to touch it. This is something from him. And I want the rabbi, please, because Rabbi, if you could read it and translate it, it's a short letter.
הדגול איש חי רב פעלים הרב הגאון, הרב רבי ברוך בן חיים שליטה, רב ומורה צדק בקהל הקדוש שערי ציון, New York. He's saying the great rabbi, the Gaon, Cham Baruch ben Chaim, the rabbi and the leader of Sharet Zion in New York. Shalom bracha, v'yesharav. Only blessing. I know with Baalim v'shalomo l'brioto, we're praying for his peace and his strength. We're hoping to know that everything is going well with him. Yiratzon. It should be Hashem's will. We hear only good things. Yeshua b'nechamot. Only salvation. V'yizkeh. Katav Roshil B'riut etana b'nehuram aliyah b'orach yamim v'shnot chaim b'tov v'benim b'rov osher v'haslacha l'agdil Torah l'adira b'rov oz v'shalom. And he's blessing him to have tremendous long life and healthy life, and only b'rachan haslacha b'kavod rav Ovadia Yosef Rishon LeZion Rav Rashi L'Yisrael. This letter is written Gimel Adar Tav Shin Lamed Tet. So that is approximately 50 years ago. This letter was written. We're in Tav Shin Pei Dalet. So it's about 50 years ago, a little less than 50 years ago, this letter was written from Cham Ovadia to Cham Baruch.
So this letter was when Rabbi Ben Chaim was not feeling well. And the rabbi, the Chacham, wanted to wish his friend a refuah shlema, and he wrote this letter, and I thought it was so appropriate. It's a rare letter, obviously, and I'd like to ask the ayals to come up. Is there any lighting here? Not so much. I'd like to ask the ayals to come up, and if we could take a picture, that would be nice. I just want to say that when our rare book dealer found this letter, I said it belongs in the Ayal home. This is a home of Kedusha, a home of Tzedakah, and a home of Chesed, and this is where it should belong. heirloom for the mishpacha.
To show you the extent of the chesed that Chesed 24/7 does, somebody approached me earlier and said, I have an amazing experience he'd like to share. I'd like to call him up to speak. A good friend of mine who does a lot of good work in the community. To know him also, really, he does tremendous work. I'd like to call up Marasan.
Thanks, Scott. Good evening, everyone. I didn't come here prepared to speak, but I thought it's important to give you some real-life experience. My father, may he rest in peace, spent months and months in Mount Sinai Hospital. And when we were there, we were really lost. So when Sima Bakrak walked into our room offering help, we thought it was for a bit of food, some kosher food. It was helpful. And eventually we found ourselves to their Chesed 24/7 room on the second floor, maybe 10 times a day, constantly stocked with food. And when you have your mom that you're worried about and your siblings round the clock and others, it's tremendously helpful to know you have kosher food somewhere nearby. But then they really kicked into action. And my father had many, many difficulties. And between Sima and all their connections at the hospital, my father was spared no attention. No doctor refused us. When we worked on our own, we were told it'll be 2 weeks before a doctor can speak to you. When we spoke to Chesed 24/7, there was a doctor in our house, in our room, that evening, in his coat, before he went home. Procedures happened anytime they were needed. And I'm going to tell you that I believe my father's life was extended, certainly in comfort, due to the help of Chesed 24/7. If you speak to any of my siblings, we all feel the same way. That's why I dragged my daughter and her friend here on the way for ice cream, because we needed to stop here and tell our story. This organization is essential. You should never need it. But when you're sitting in a hospital, lost in the healthcare system, there's nothing like someone that can show you the way. They're a wonderful organization. The rabbis become a very, very good friend, and they're really Leshem Shamayim. Anyway, thank you to the host as well for having them. It's a very special group.
If everybody can please, Mars, thank you. If everybody can please put your attention to the screens. We have a very short video to give you an inside look at the great work that they do.
The Torah talks in detail about the vessels in the Bet HaMikdash. And our rabbis ask a question, why do we need to know all of that? And why so much focus on the different things that the vessels were made of? And I saw a beautiful answer. It's also referring to the 3 levels of a giver. The first level is nechoshet, it's copper. I'm gonna give, but I'm gonna give because of my reputation. The next level up is kesef, which means that I'm afraid I need to give. Then there's the level of zahav. That's a giver that just gives for the sake of giving. And I'd like to say that Chesed 24/7 is the level of gold. They don't know the receiver on the other end, but they have no idea what they're doing for the people that they are giving to.
Anyone that wasn't in the hospital, Baruch Hashem, would have no way of understanding what Chesed 24/7 does for you. We were in different hospitals, one hospital after the next, for 6 or 7 years. We did Sloan, we did Columbia, we did Mount Sinai, we did Cornell. We went from one hospital to the next, and the one constant was that you had this room that you could go to, not only for food, for coffee, but to see people that were going through similar things to what you were going through.
It was about the feeling, the warmth, the care. I called it an infusion. You would go down to that chesed room to get infused with Mika Amcha Yisrael, how lucky we are to be part of this nation. And one Motzei Shabbat, as we were leaving, we passed the rabbi in charge of Chesed 24/7. And I said to him, Rabbi, I have to share with you what my Shabbat was about. I said it was hard, but the love and warmth that chesed room gives, I said, you can't compare it to any medicine that you can, anything. It's nourishment.
No matter how much food you bring, you want that warmth and that extra food that you get from the Chesed 24/7. I probably owe them a lot of money by now, because I would go there just to take food, just to feel good. Everything you wanted they had by the Sidarim. They had Seder plates, full Seder plates made with every part of the kehara that you needed. They had that set up with saran wrap on it. You took it to your room and you had the grape juice, every single thing you could need.
The room is stocked better than any kitchen I know. There's freshly cut salads, checked lettuce. Before Pesach, I thought I came with a fully stocked meal ready to serve the kehara. And then I go downstairs and I see juice lettuce in the fridge of Cornell.
Down to the tablecloth. You would have tablecloths, you could set up every Seder or every Shabbat meal tablecloths. My mother would take the hot plate, we would use that for the food. We all, I think, felt this way. That you're sitting in your room, it's Friday afternoon, and you lost track of time, you're waiting for the doctor to come in, the nurse to answer you, and you lost track of the day of the week. And suddenly someone walks in with a bag of food, with a box with the candles in it for Shabbat, and the tablecloth for Shabbat, and the grape juice, all things that you had no time to think of. But as Shabbat's going along, you realize, wow, look, I feel normal. I feel like I have Shabbat like a Jewish person in the hospital.
And therefore, on behalf of all my siblings and of course my mother, we'd like to say a tremendous, tremendous thank you, Hakarat HaTov, because you were like the warmth and the hugs and the kisses and the little tap on your back that you're not alone.
When I think about Chesed 24/7, the first feeling I have is warmth. And I think on top of that, it's appreciation. When you press those numbers, the combination with the Hebrew letters, you suddenly feel like someone cares about you. Let's give them our support and let's understand that, of course, they have a lot of volunteers who will come with stuff, but it also takes support and it takes funds, and that's what they need from us. We all try to forget about what happened in the hospital, but the one thing we don't want to forget is Chesed 24/7. I don't want to forget it, and you shouldn't forget it either.
Rabbi Haber is a little late. I therefore will dispense with all the encomiums that he deserves, which are endless. And I just want to say that he's been such a friend to us as well, that we were zochet to find the Ksav Yad, the actual handwriting of the Kaf HaChaim, one of the most famous poskim in history, and we're pleased to present it to the rabbi. And without further ado, he has to move. So, Rabbi.
First of all, thank you very much for this. This is incredible. Can those of you by the food, can we have your attention, please, for 3 minutes? First of all, Rabbi Sanders, this is not necessary at all. I owe you all the thanks, but this is incredible, and I'm not going to mind bringing this home, having the actual handwriting and the actual words of the Chavetz Chaim, of the Kaf HaChaim is an incredible gift. Okay, so my speech is going to be shorter than expected, because I can't see one word. Literally not one word. Okay. Do we have your attention in the back? There are many things in life that we are prepared for. That means when someone gets married, time. So when they're ready for marriage, they took lessons and classes, and hopefully they're ready for what's in store. When someone's about to have a child, by definition, it takes 9 months for that child to come into the world. You have 9 months to prepare. If someone's going to buy a house, you go into contract, and then you close. You're ready. But when someone gets a call that their mother has to go to the hospital, or their father, or their wife, or God forbid their child, you don't have any preparation. It's usually, hi, daddy's not doing well. Hatzalah is coming to the house right now. Who's going? Are you going? I'm going. I'm going. Mommy's also going to go. We're going to go too. Are you sure? Could you drop? You have a class to give? Don't give the class. Grab something from the house and get in the car. You're going to follow the Hatzalah truck and you're going to go. And then you get there. And you're so not ready for anything. You barely know the doctor you're going to speak to, and you for sure don't know what you're going to do. My family and I have been through about a 7-year journey that ended sadly 3 months ago. And on that journey, we've been in and out of hospitals and had nowhere to turn. And at nights, we'd sleep on floors. At nights,
You slept on the floor.
Yes, not my father. At nights, we didn't know where we were going to get food from because it was so urgent, no one even knew we were there. Enter Chesed 24/7. And all of a sudden, the whole experience changes. And I'd like to give you explanation why and give you a few keys, if I can, if the people in the back are okay with listening for 2 minutes. The Pasuk says of Nechama, of consolation, Devru Alev Yerushalayim. We speak Ki Nirtza Avona. You speak about the heart of Jerusalem because our sins have been forgiven. What do you mean our sins have been forgiven? Yesterday we were sitting on the floor because our Beit HaMikdash was destroyed. What changed today? What changed today is the recognition of Lev Yerushalayim, the recognition of the heart of the Jewish people. And the heart of the Jewish people is so powerful and so unique, and it's so captured in Chesed 24/7. When we walked into the hospital, we didn't know them, and they didn't know us. And before you know it, they were our friend. And I'm going to give you 3 components of how they help. Number 1 is food. You might say, we don't need food, we can afford food. I hope you've never been in a hospital. If you have, try Uber eating to a hospital. It's so annoying. Because when you Uber Eats to your house, you could say, drop it off outside the door, and you go pick it up in 10 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour, whatever it takes. Which door are you going to drop it off to outside the hospital? So where do you go? So you keep tracking on your phone, and then the guy came already, and then he left, and he went to the other hospital door, and he went to the front, he went to the back. The front and the back is not the front and the back of your house. It's 3 blocks away, the front and the back. And you're starving, and your patient needs food, and you need food, and the hospital gives you some food, you can barely look at it. And then there's Chesed 24/7. My siblings and I were in and out of that room, and we'd go get a piece of cake. We'd go get something to eat. We'd go get some vegetables. We'd go get some candy. We'd go get some snack. We'd go get some real food. We'd go get soup. On Shabbat, we get chali, we get grapes. They give you a little box. They walk into your room. Even if you could afford the food, even if buying food for you isn't hard, you feel so desperate and so poor in that moment. And the last thing you have time to do is say, Ma, Dad, tell the hot doctor to wait. I'm going to go to the store and get food. That's number 1. Number 2 is holidays. My father was out of the hospital, like I said, over 7 years. It was probably 200, 300 days that he was in the hospital, 300 nights that he was there. We had a couple of Pesachs in the hospital. Chesed 24/7 sent a team the night before Pesach to clean the room for Pesach. Then they sent a team to set up the room for Pesach. Like my brother mentioned on the video, Pesach said there they had ka'ara, matzah, maror, everything you need, a haggadah, the whole setup. And for each and every holiday, they are there for you to make you have, whether it's Shabbat, the holiday, make you have exactly what you need. And the third and final thing, if you're never in a hospital, you would think you don't need it. But if you're in a hospital, you desperately hold on to it. And that is a friend to hold your hand. In our journey, we were in 2 hospitals predominantly, Mount Sinai and Cornell. I still remember the day when Sima walked into our room. I think we were in the waiting room. And she walked into the waiting room. She says, hi. And we're like, who are you? She said, I'm with Chesed 24/7. And she told my mother, I'm going to hold your hand every day. We were in Mount Sinai for approximately 70 days. I'm not sure if it was everyone or almost everyone. Every single day, Sima came to the room and sat with my mother. What do you need? What can I get you? When you're there and you almost feel like you're in jail, it's incredible what they do. And then we were in Cornell. And Sima is right here tonight with us. Thank you, Sima, so much for all that you've done for my family. And then we were in Cornell, and in comes Yocheved. and Yocheved is there for our family, and she's watching us, and she's there with us every single day, and we were there also for weeks and months. My point here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is this. I hope you never have to walk into a hospital. But maybe I hope you do. Because it means your parent lived a long life, and it means you have a chance to be there for them. And in the haste and in the energy that you're putting in to be there for your parent or be there for a spouse, you don't realize how much help you need and the people you need to be there for you. So you don't get warning. And I hope it doesn't come for another 100 years. But when that day comes, you're not going to get a collar class. You're not going to get a groom class. You're not going to get driver's ed. And you're not going to get some lamaz that's going to teach you how to give birth to a baby. You're all suddenly going to be there and you're going to be lost. And then you're going to hear about this room. And you're going to get the Hebrew combination. And you're going to walk into the room. And you're going to feel like you're home. And you're going to see other people just like you. People in our community and people from other communities. And you say, what are you here for? One time my sister walked into the room. There was a man there who was sitting Shiva. But his wife was giving birth. So he was in the hospital during the 7 days. And my sister was able to console. My family was able to console him. And he was able to strengthen us. Our nation is incredible because of the heart that we possess, because of the strength that's inside of us, because of the unity of Jews around the world, that no matter how many people are our enemy, we are brothers and sisters. And there's no place on the planet that you will need it and that you will feel it more than in the Chesed 24/7 room. I hope you don't need it for 100 years. But when that day comes, you will be so glad that tonight you supported the heart of our nation. Thank you.